if you're an ACC baseball fan, which you assumedly are if you listen to this show. He needs no introduction, but I'll do him a bit of one anyway. The longtime former Clemson baseball head coach, the legendary number 7, Jack Leggett, 6 College World Series appearances as the head Tiger in his time. And he's back on staff where this weekend at Doug Kingsmore Stadium, his number 7 is going to be retired. So that obviously being somewhat always a good reason to have you on, Coach, but that's we're going to call that our reason for having you on today. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you. It's good to be with you, Darren and Danny, and look forward to talking with you and give you some insights or answer any questions you might have. And we'll talk about the weekend and talk about how the season's going.
Yeah, for sure. Big weekend for Clemson. Got 2 of 3 from Florida State when especially other ACC teams struggled to get 3 games in at all because of the weather. Let's start with your role with Clemson. I know obviously Erik Bakich, who was a volunteer assistant under you, right? At one point when you were there at Clemson, hired in his first year as the head coach of the Tigers. It was great to see you when I had a series, you guys and Duke there, and you joked with me then that, well, yeah, you know, that the NCAA would get on me if they saw me do certain things. So it's a little bit more limited of a role. Would you describe what your role is now? What's different? What's new, but what's the same?
Well, the title is program development. I'm helping the coaches, mentoring the coaches and the players. I can speak to the team. Obviously, it can be at practice, be at games. Evaluate those types of things, give them my insights or experience to help them in any way. I just can't literally, go out to shortstop, do my thing, or hit fungos or throw BP, that kind of thing. So it's like putting a stallion who's been in the, he's been uptight all winter long. He's in an 8x8 stall. He's kicking the side walls. But that's what it feels like to me because I love the coaching part. I love the being on the field. Kid asked me a question, I can obviously answer it and talk to him a little bit, but my work is basically done in the dugout, in the classroom, in the meeting areas, just outside the line, inside the lines, outside the lines. And so that's the tough part for me, but it's also, I feel like I'm filling a valuable role for the team and for the coaches and for the players. And they gravitate to you. They want to hear what you have to say. I think they value my experience, value my insights to helping them any way that I can. It's just a little frustrating for me, but at the same time, it keeps me at the field. It keeps me with the team. It keeps me with the coaches. It keeps me in tune to everything that's going on, and keeps me young, keeps me with the in tune with the players. And, a couple years ago, I coached the USA national team. We went to Panama and South Korea and Taiwan and so forth. And they were 18-year-old kids, Bobby Witt Jr., Corbin Carroll, CJ Abrams, Riley Green. Guys who are playing in the big leagues right now that are 21 years old. And, I was able to relate with them, have a great experience with those guys. And so even though I'm a little bit more experienced, I feel like I'm 30 years old. That's my problem. That's my issue.
Well, hey, whatever keeps you feeling young, right, Coach?
Right, exactly.
So you mentioned that the players will come and pick your brain occasionally, or maybe often daily.
Right.
Do the younger players know your pedigree? Do they know exactly what you've done for college baseball, not just Clemson, for all of college baseball? And are they intimidated at all?
No, I think they feel very comfortable with me. I got a chance to really talk to them. We do like a 7-on-7, before the game, go down the right field line, talk to them, give them an insight, give them a new story, give them a new theme for the day or whatever it might be. And Erik's done a really good job. It's very difficult for a coach coming in. We had such a good relationship because we were together in 2002 with Tim Corbin and Sully, with that team that we had with Cleo Green and Jeff Baker and Michael Johnson and so forth, and went to the World Series and had a really good team. And he was with us as an assistant coach, as our volunteer coach, recommended by Keith LeClaire, who played for me and went to East Carolina. He coached at Western, then went to East Carolina, died of ALS, and one of Keith's last things he told me, he said, "You got to take Erik Bakich as your volunteer." And I couldn't say no to him, and I didn't know Erik at all. And it proved to be a really good, there was lots of testosterone in one office with me, Sully, and Corbs, and Erik. But we had a really good chemistry. We all still are very good friends. We rely on each other. We keep in touch with each other, and we have mutual respect and everything. So that's how I got started with Erik. And so when he got this job, I was very excited about it. I was, the athletic director had brought me into the fold a little bit and made me feel welcome and valued and relevant again. And that was really good. And that was Graham Neff. And when they hired Erik, I thought it was a very good move. It is a very good move. It's going to be a really good thing for Clemson baseball. And at the same time, he made a special effort, because if you have an ego involved or you're not very confident in what you're doing, it's tough to bring in a coach who's been there a while and kind of knows what's going on. And so this has been I've given Erik many, many opportunities to go, "Erik, I don't need to be around. I don't need to be hovering over your back. I don't need to be in the shadow. I don't need to be." He goes, "No, coach, when I take this job, I want you right next to me in the dugout. And I want you at every home game. You can go to every away game if you can." I've kind of put a limit on just being at the home games, although I'm going Tuesday to Athens for the Georgia game, but because it's close. But so and then I'll go postseason. If they make the ACC tournament, then the tournament beyond that, then yes. But it's been a really good thing, because he's let the players know. They've had. He does a really good thing with historical Clemson players. They've called Billy Cotts, they've called Chris Benson, Shane Monahan, all the outstanding players of the past. They've called them all, and they've done presentations on each one of these kids and PowerPoints in front of the team, and introduce who these guys are, and myself and Erik's done a really good job, so they know who I am, and what's happened in the past and all that kind of thing, and they have an appreciation, which I don't know if they really did the last 7 years. Maybe they have an appreciation for the tradition, for the history, for what Clemson baseball is all about, and so that's made me feel welcome. I think the players know exactly what my background is. So it's a good question, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, the next step in that is what I alluded to, Coach. This Saturday, your number 7 is going to be retired there at Clemson. So an honor I'm sure you appreciate and are grateful for. When did you find out that was going to be the case this season, and what exactly does it mean to you?
Well, first of all, it means a great deal to me. It's something the last 7 years I really didn't feel excited about coming back, didn't come back very often. And when I did, if I did and drove by, I had a pit in my stomach. It just wasn't, it just didn't feel right, because it didn't end right. And not the way I thought it should have, or felt like it deserved. But at the same time, I now feel extremely welcome. I feel really good about walking into the facility. I feel good about seeing the players and the coaches, and I think they're all excited to see me every time. And so this is nice. Nobody's worn 7 since I've left. Nobody's worn Coach Wilhelm's number 38. Nobody's worn 34, Chris Benson's number, 28, Seth Beer's number, or 14, Khalil Green's number. They've had respect not to wear those numbers, but for them to take it a step further, I guess, and to retire it. And I don't know if they're putting something up on the fence, the outfield fence, which has always been bothered me a little bit, because of how many good teams we had, and it really was a representation that there wasn't anything on the fence that showed that we were really there for the last 22 years, And so in respect for them, I think this is great, because I've had so many good players and so many good coaches that have been with me over time, and the fans and everybody's treated me really good always. And it was just, it just was a tough situation for a little while there. But the people I know, and the people I worked with, and the people that are the fans that really know the value that the program had for a long period of time, they've been great. So excited about being back. I've got my kids coming in their son lives in Atlanta, daughter lives in Denver, and they're coming back, and so my family will be there, and I think a lot of my players, and obviously the players at Clemson who have become very close to, and the coaches there, and so it's been something very nice, and I'm excited about it, and hopefully have a good day.
Well,
we
so
need to cap it off with a W, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing's any fun without a win.
doesn't matter what's happening, right?
No,
A win is
not to me anyway.
Yeah.
My DNA is all about scoring one more run than the other guy at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, hey, speaking of runs, I was going to go somewhere else, but you're talking about runs. I was reading somewhere where it said that you told the team that you needed to score 3 runs, maybe the next inning, and they scored 4, and then you apologized for getting it wrong. Can you tell us that story, please?
Well, we had a couple of instances early in the season. I think the one was against Binghamton, and we were struggling a little bit. We weren't hitting it that well, and I go down the line. I go down the line in front of the players. I go, fellas, just going to tell you we're going to get 3 runs right now. Sure enough, we got 3 runs. We end up winning the ball game. And then another game, maybe a week later, I go down, fellas, we're going to get 3 more today. We need 3 runs this inning. We're going to get them. And sure enough, we got 4. And so after the inning was over, I went down, hey, fellas, I'm sorry. I'll do better next time. Told you 3, we got 4. And I laughed. So, I just have a good time with them. I kind of see things happening on the field because of the number of games that I've been involved in and years that I've coached. I can kind of see things that are going to happen as the game is taking place. And, I'll say something to somebody, go, hey, we're going to score some runs right here, because I could feel just a little bit of energy, feel a little at-bat that was coming, or I don't know. There's just a sixth sense that you have if you've been around it a long time. And I've still got that. Still seem to have it. Maybe it's always wishful thinking that we need a few runs right here, or whatever it might be. But at the same time, I think you can kind of see how the game is starting to unfold, maybe a little bit ahead of everybody else because you've seen so many games before.
Well, I think it also teaches a little bit of a positive attitude about yourself, and hopefully the players see that.
Yeah. Oh, they know I'm positive. They know I've got energy. They know that I bring I think a good vibe to the field every day. And I mean, there's nothing like putting a uniform on. I can't put a jersey on, but I can put the pants on and whatever on top and windbreak or whatever. But it's just something that I've always cherished and I've always felt good about, and keeps you young. And I don't know, there's nothing like putting on a baseball pair of pants and going to battle, going to war, and not knowing what's going to happen that day. And it's not like going to the bank and you're working from 8 to 5 and you pretty much know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen, and it can unfold in a lot of different ways. And every game's a little bit different, and that's what makes it exciting and keeps it interesting for you every day.
Well, what is it like, the dynamic with you and Erik? You two have obviously known each other for a long time. You have been very deferential in this role, but say your spidey senses start tingling in the middle of a game, right? And you can sense maybe that something's not right, or somebody's due for a big knock or something. How has that gone this year? Maybe you give Erik a nudge and be like, take it for what it is. I got a feeling.
Right. Well, we talked during the course of the game, and we have such a good relationship that there's no, I don't feel like I'm stepping on his toes, or he's not, bowing down to somebody who's coached longer or whatever. There's none of that. It's just really good. And we have a good sense of humor, and, things aren't going good in the game. We start laughing a little bit inside and go, yeah, this is like having a root canal and laser surgery on without anesthesia. This is how the game is unfolding. It's painful. We just not getting the big hit, not making the big pitch, whatever it might be. So we have this relationship where we can say anything to each other at any time. And if there's something that I see during the course of the game, we talk about it. And every once in a while he confides and has great, relationship and respect for his pitching coach, Jimmy Bellinger, and for Nick Schnabel and Griff Mazer, who played for him. And so they talk a lot. And if I will interject something when, I think it's necessary, or when they feel like they want it, I don't step out of my bounds and try to tell them what to do, because they know what they're doing. And it's just a matter of helping when I can.
I got to bring up something. Darren says that baseball players have this uncanny memory. Like it's, we all remember things. And
Right.
This was a long time ago. We came to Clemson, 1994, my junior year, your first year. You may or may not remember this, but I feel like I remember this like it was yesterday. So Clemson gave me my only loss of the season that year. In an extra inning game, they walked me off. But prior to the walk-off, we had kind of almost a bench clearing argument. One of the players, Shane Monahan, was like smoking me like he did the whole country. Like he hit everybody. So he lines out and then he screamed something at me. I don't remember what he screamed. Next batter is Mike Hampton, who's now the St. John's head coach.
Right.
He might have been the biggest guy on your team at that time too.
Right.
So I was instructed to hit him. So I hit him. Well, long story short, that got all settled. Well, coach, I saw you after the game and you came up to me and you asked me if I did it on purpose. And I have to come clean. I'm a much mature man now. I have to come clean. And I said, no, I didn't. And I lied. So my conscience is getting me right now, because like this might be why I was intimidated today before we got you on here. Like I was thinking, how am I going to tell coach that I'm sorry that I lied to him? Because I feel so bad that I did that, but I was a 20-year-old kid and, I didn't know what to say to you. So I said, no, I didn't hit him on purpose, but I did. So.
I accept your apology 30 years later. No problem.
And it's funny. I saw Mike a few years back doing one of St. John's games, and he said he knew it was coming. He knew that he was going to get hit. So I felt a little bit better.
Shane had a way of doing that to some of his teammates once in a while. Shane, please be quiet, because I'm going to take your wrath.
That's kind of what Mike was telling me.
Yeah.
He said he knew it's happened before, and I was just glad, because Darren, I don't know if you know who Mike Hampton is, but he's a giant.
Mm-hmm.
and like very, very intimidating, big, strong dude, but was the nicest guy. And we actually got drafted back to back that same year.
That's right. Mike is a great friend and a great guy. Had a great year for us. He actually stole 39 bases that year, if you can believe it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's a little bigger than that right now. I don't think he could steal it right now, but he was a really good player for us, an All-American, and he hit a home run, grand slam home. We were 1 and 2 in the nation with Georgia Tech, at Georgia Tech. They had Veritek and Nomar and that kind of thing. And so they had a good ball club. And he hit a grand slam home run over the B there in left field. And he also had 39 stolen bases. And I think 35 or 6 of them were delayed steals, because he just had really good timing, really had good instincts. And I tell him every time I go, nobody delays steals as much as they used to, but he really had a knack for it and really knew when to use it. But really good guy. So I'm sure he's forgiven you, Danny.
He did.
And I have too, so it's no problem.
Thank you. But I promise I'll never lie to you again, Coach.
And I don't remember asking you that. I don't remember asking. It doesn't rank home with me, but.
Glad we could help Danny exercise demons.
Because I know Shane very well, and he's a really good friend of mine. I can visualize this all happening.
Yeah.
How it happened. But we had some great battles with you guys. We had some great games, mutual respect back and forth, very competitive. We both had Omaha type teams during that era, and we all had good players and good coaches and so forth. So they were all good battles, and we were very competitive. We had some with him, David Miller, Scott Winchester probably played with you.
And we got traded together.
Yeah, he was with Cincinnati. Then you had Mike Holtz was on that team, another big leaguer, left-handed pitcher. You mentioned Mike Hampton. David Miller was a first-round pick. Seth
Yeah.
Brydick. I mean, we had some good players. We had some really competitive kids, and you guys did too. So it was all good stuff. No problems. No ill will.
Yeah.
Part of the game.
My point remains regarding the encyclopedic memories, though. Do you hear yourselves just rattling off people and circumstances?
There's a compartment in there
Yeah.
that nobody else has except a baseball coach and a baseball player.
Yeah.
And they can remember scores. They can remember painful moments. There's a compartment of painful moments in there and good moments. And, you can't remember sometimes what you did yesterday, but you can remember what you did 20 years ago, what the score was, and who got the big hit and all those kinds of things. For some reason, I think it's because we're also passionate about what we do that because we think about it so much and we're invested so much in it that it gets ingrained in your brain a little bit further than some of the other stuff.
Yeah. Well, I threw 5 innings that game. I do remember that. And it was a getaway day. And Coach, if you talk to Shane soon, ask him about it. I bet he remembers too. Right. And tell him I'm sorry.
Oh, he knows. he'll want to fight you. No problem. Shane.
Yeah. We're nearing 50 and he wants to fight.
He'll laugh about it. He'll know about it.
Yeah.
There's another story that there was a kid, the game was Carmine or something. It was Miami kid. He came in and maybe 99 or something. And we might have been later than that. Might have been in the 2000s. And he came in with a 21 pitching win streak. And he was 12-0. And he came in, and I'll never forget this because I'm competitive too. But he walked down the left field line. Miami came in the left field line, and he had headphones on. He was bouncing, and he was feeling really good about himself. And I said, we are going to kick his rear end today. I can just feel it. And sure enough, he had shut us out for 4 innings. And I'm thinking, boy, maybe I wasn't quite right. And the next thing you know, we put up a 12 spot on him. And they left him out there. He was responsible for all 12. They left him out there for all 12. And next thing I know, he's walking by me on the third base, to the third base dugout right by me. And I'm going, wow, things just changed really quickly.
I could see Coach Morris leaving him out there because he might have needed to be humbled a little bit.
Yeah. It just somehow it happened. We had a good team and bang, 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 bang. It might have got 7 quick or something. And then somebody might have hit he got to 8 but he wasn't pitching that bad. But then next thing I know, 4 spot, whatever it was, 12 runs were, and he might have gone out with the bases loaded or something, and somebody else let up 3. All 12 were.
That'll hurt the ERA for a little bit.
He probably had a good one coming in, so it probably didn't hurt it so bad. But that was a story I told the players the other day because we were talking about never giving up. And we were facing some good pitching against Wake Forest. They got 3 good starters.
Yeah.
And I said, this is what we're facing, but this is what I've seen before. This is what there's another game. We played Chuck Crowder, who was a left-handed pitcher for Georgia Tech. And he had a perfect game for 3 innings. We hadn't touched him. So for the 9 outs, I think 7 of them were strikeouts. We had hardly put a ball in play. It was dominant. And the next thing I know, we score 16 runs in the inning.
Oh,
and he's responsible for the first 9.
Oh my God.
He walks by me after being perfect for 3 innings, and I'm going, this is going to be tough today. And next thing I know, he's going by me. He's given up 7. There's 2 on base. We get 2 more, so he's responsible for 9. We get 16 runs in the inning. And so these are 2 stories that I told the team the other day because I wanted them to understand that even if you face some hardship early in the game, you got to keep your head in the game and keep on battling. And it could be that one walk or hit by pitch, or a guy drills one in the gap. Everybody starts to feel comfortable and more confident. And this is how the games can unfold. And they don't see these things as much as I've seen them in my time.
Right.
And so those are some of the things that I give them before the game to hopefully bring out confidence, make them believe, make them laugh, whatever it might be, to get them to a point where they feel more confident going into the game.
Yeah.
There's that little memory.
I was going to say, before we let you get to this week and then ultimately this weekend, where we're going to add another one of the positive memories to that side of the brain. I just want you to speak about Erik Bakich and the direction of Clemson baseball. This is, again, if you tune into this show, assumedly you like and appreciate ACC baseball. To me, this is me editorializing. The league is better when Clemson is not just relevant, but good and toward the top of the league. I came back from my trip to Clemson to calling that series against Duke. Just really impressed with Erik. You actually introduced me when I was there. I'd never met him before. I came back very much a believer, and I like the crew that is there, albeit young. And I think there's a lot to grow on. That's there already. And you know, Erik even mentioned to me that weekend, he said, look, I look at this roster and see what the kids can do. And I don't think there's any reason we're not a tournament team this year, much less next year, the year following. From your perspective, because I mean, you might have, in terms of determining what is being instilled in Clemson baseball right now, you might have the best seat in the house right next to Erik. What's your takeaway in terms of what is changing and what's being inserted culturally?
Well, there's a huge improvement in my mind about the culture, accountability, just the way they look, just the way they carry themselves when they travel, just the way they dress, just the way it's more crisp. It's more like Clemson baseball for the 56 years between Coach Wilhelm and myself. I think it got a little loose. I think it got a little lack of discipline. I think it got a little, sloppy maybe in some ways. And when that happens, the formula equals losing or not being as successful as you possibly can be. And so I think he's tightened that up really good. And so there's a lot more accountability, whether it be in the classroom, whether it be how they carry themselves or discipline and all that type of thing. And their performance on the field during practice, certain things are just not acceptable, not executing, not getting this down, not doing this, not making. So there's a really good change that way. Erik is extremely smart. He's very well spoken. He says exactly what's on his mind. He's got a really good sense of humor, which goes a long way. He can relate to the players. He's in shape. He takes care of himself. I mean, there's a lot of things that the players, I guess when I was that age, they can relate to because, he's not asking them to do anything that he's not willing to do himself. And that was one thing I always took to the bank. I said, I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to ask you to work hard. I'm going to ask you to compete. I'm going to ask you to be tougher than everybody else that we play. I'm going to ask you to work harder, but I'm willing to do the same thing. And the minute you see something different than that, you call me out on it. And so I was always in line that way. And I think Erik is that way too, and his coaches are. So that part, I think, is really good. He's got a really good way of communicating with him, talking to him every day in the classroom. He's very organized. The practices are competitive. They're not just rolling out a ball and go, hey, let's take batting practice and go home. It's there's structure to it. There's something going on during that practice to help them get better and to play at the pace of the game. So those things are really good. He just treats people well. He's got such a good sense of humor, but at the same time, a really good personality where you introduce him to somebody, next thing you know, they feel comfortable around him. So that's a real positive. I think the players will respond to that very well. The players, and talking about our team, there's a lot of good qualities to what this team is capable of doing. They're 4-8 in the ACC, but the 4 of the games, you saw 1 or 2 of them at Duke. With Duke, 2 of them with Wake, 1-run games, a 6-5, a 4-3 game. I mean, a game down at Georgia Tech, have 1 strike away from winning the game, and with 2 outs, 1 strike away, and next thing you know, lose the game. So the relief pitching at the end of the game was not settled. They had a little trouble, needed Danny Graves to come in, and we'd be 10-2 right now. And so that was but the relief pitching has gotten better now. Kid named Nick Clayton has stepped up. Tristan Smith's been put in that role, which he's done a pretty good job with. Nick Hoffman's done a better job that way. The starting pitching, I mean, we're 4-8 in the conference, 19-14 or 13-9, whatever it is. And the number one pitcher hasn't won a game yet. The Friday night guy, Austin Gordon, hasn't got a win. Tristan Smith, who was one of the starters and somebody's going to be really good, hasn't had a win. Billy Barlow, who pitched a lot of games for him last year, has been injured back and forth, hasn't got a win yet. So it's been, luckily Caden Grice has stepped up and worked into a starting role for them and for us and done a really good job. And so he's kind of picked up. So when you look at that, you think, gosh, we're piecing together 19 wins. You got 14 losses, but it could really be a lot different with it just a little bit better. Also, the other thing that I don't think they've done exceptionally well yet is get the big hit with men on base. And when that happens, there's instances in all these games where, one more hit, bases loaded, nobody out, and you get one run, you need three. You need to get 3 or 4. You need to get something. Or a man on second and third, one out. You got to hit a ground ball. You got to get the guy in. You've got to get a run. It's a free RBI with infield back. So those are the things, that are emphasized all the time, but they're just things that have got to be done better if you want to be that elite team. And so I think, they're talked about, they're emphasized, kids understand what they have to do. It's just a matter of being able to execute it and being really, really bearing down tough enough to be able to get it done. So there's some good experience on the team, but the experience hasn't been, they're older kids, but the experience hasn't been to a regional, hasn't been to a regional for 2 years, hadn't been to a super regional at all, and hadn't been to Omaha. So that mindset needs to change. It needs to get better. It needs to win one-run games. I told them early in the year when I was talking to the team, I said, I think back in 95 or 94, maybe it was 94, we won 13 one-run ball games, which totally changes, so we were 54-17 or whatever it was, because we went to Hawaii that year and played more games. So whatever it was, you take away 13 of those, or even half.
Yeah.
Now you're 47-25. It's a totally different turnaround of the season, and that's where they are right now. Those one-run games are really hurting them where they are in the ACC. We still have our goals in front of us. We still play Louisville, North Carolina, Boston College, Virginia Tech. We still have 6 Notre Dame, really 6 strong conference series left, Virginia, that you can make your mark. And so you don't have to rely on everybody else. You just have to win 2 out of 3 and sweep 1 or 2 of those. Can't go 0-3 with anybody. You can't, 1 and 2, a couple 1 and 2s are going to hurt you. So you got to start winning conference weekends. And I think we're getting in a better spot. We lost Ryan Ammons at the beginning of the year, our number 1 guy, Friday night guy. He's probably more suited to be a closer. So when he comes back from his arm, he'll probably be in a shorter spot and help that. He's very competitive. He was really good in that role last year. Started out as a starter. So it's been, Billy Barlow has been hurt, as I mentioned before. And so there's been a lot of guys that have been dinged up so far. And I'm really trying to find a right fielder that fits in there, that can make his mark every day in the game. And left fielder, Will Taylor's playing better. Cam Canarella is playing unbelievable as an outfielder and as a left-handed hitter. Got to get a little more out of Ben Blackwell. And as a shortstop, plays really good defense. Got to get a little more offense there. Riley Bertram's had a good year. Blake Wright's starting to come on now over at third base. Caden's swing the bat better. And Cooper Ingle is just a tough out, slaps that ball around in all different places. And so Billy Amick's coming on a little bit as a DH. So they're piecing it together a little bit better, getting a little more confidence, I think, coming off this weekend. So I see good things ahead, and we just got to put on a good second half. and do our thing. And I think certainly capable of, but just got to get that confidence rolling and start to get in that groove. And
Yeah.
I told him a while back, I said, we're going to win 11 games in a row. And you're going to win 11 games in a row. But when we won 6 or 7 in a row, and we dropped, maybe it was at Duke. I think we dropped 3 to Duke. And then we came back and won 2 midweek games. So we had them believing they're going to win 11 in a row. And so it's a mind game,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's as much mental as it is physical, because you cannot, if you don't believe, you won't achieve.
Right.
And if you don't see something happen, and he's going to throw his slider, he's got to know where that slider is going and have complete confidence in that pitch. If there's any trepidation or any holding back or any, I hope it goes there, it's going to end up over the middle of the plate, and it's going to end up somewhere you don't want it.
Those cement mixers.
Yeah. And it's hitting cement somewhere out there. So you have to believe in everything that you're doing and get that. And in order to do that, you have to have confidence, and you have to have experienced confidence. And so I have that experienced confidence because I've seen it, and I've seen teams struggle and come back and really finish strong and all that kind of thing. So I just hope that they can get on a roll, and we can get on a roll, and we can start playing really good baseball, and everybody get healthy at the same time, and win some close games. And I think that'll send them off where they need to be. And to tell you this, you can talk as much as you want about rundowns and fundamentals and hitting behind the run, doing all this stuff. You can talk anything you want, but the most valuable lesson any team learns is that you're never out of the fight, that you can always come back and win. And so when you come back and win a game with a walk-off home run or a walk-off base hit, or a 1-2-3 8th and a 1-2-3 9th, and you just put the nail in the coffin. If you can learn that lesson and believe in that lesson, then your season takes off to another place. And that's hopefully this past weekend will give them that kind of confidence.
Yeah. I love it. I'm hearing you're in your mind, Coach. You're going back. But you're also, what I love, and this is the perfect cap to our conversation. What I love about this is I can sense you're sort of battling. You're going back and forth between calling the team they and we. You're back on staff at Clemson. It just feels right?
Right.
For me and Danny, that appears when we're doing a game as bias. We can't really get away with that. You're all clear. Say we. Say we when you're talking Clemson.
It's a we because I'm invested. When I don't travel with them, it's kind of like a they because I'm not right there.
Right.
But at the same time, in my mind, it's a we because I just feel very connected to the staff, very connected to the players, very, very, very connected to the program now and the people. And it's just so awesome to walk into that dugout, look at that beautiful field, hear the music, sun's out, got a competitive game going on. There's people over there that are, hey, coach, and they want you to sign something for them, or, can I take a picture with you, or whatever it might be. There's nothing greater than that. This in my life, in my baseball life, there's nothing that's been greater than to have people appreciate what you do, come cheer for your team, and hang with you thick or thin, and it's tough for people to do sometimes because everybody wants instant results, but I think they understand the program's in good hands, and I understand it. I see it. I wouldn't tell you if I didn't feel it, because I'd avoid it and make some kind of answer up or whatever. But I really believe in Erik, and I believe in his staff, and I believe in these kids, and I believe in the program and where it's headed. And I'm just glad to be excited about being around again, or being at the ballpark. And so we'll see where it goes. And are you guys doing the game Friday night?
No, we're not going to be there. I've got somewhere else in the ACC. I'd have to look. It's wild.
I'll be up in studio, so we'll be covering your game.
Okay.
Probably not till it's over. I don't think we're doing any cut-ins because the show is late, but we'll be in the studio, and I'm going to be bragging that I got to talk to you too. So one more thing I needed to ask you, Coach. You were talking about how Erik is in really good shape. Well, I always thought you were like the most jacked college baseball coach, especially when I was playing, and you probably were for the rest of your time there at Clemson. Right. But what I did not know, I did some research on you last night. You also played football at University of Maine, right? Yeah. And I just need to know if you still have the record for the longest field goal. And
it's 52 yards.
Yeah.
And it's been tied by a guy about 3 years ago. He kicked a 52-yard. It's hung in there since 1975, I guess.
That's so awesome. That is so awesome.
47 years or whatever that is. And so it's still hanging in there. And but I like to be. So I called the kid up. The coach called me. He goes, Coach, I just want you to know somebody tied your record today, and we won the game 16-13 or whatever it was. I go, awesome. Give me his number. So I called the kid at the hotel. They were at an away game somewhere. And I just told him, I said, hey, that's awesome. Congratulations. I just want you to know mine was 52.5 against the blizzard, uphill into the wind. He started laughing. I go, so,
with the softer ball, probably.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So, still hanging in there, but I want to be known not as I played every down, was the captain of the football team, captain of the defense, and it was a 52 monster defense. I was the monster man. So I was a rover back. So I was always in the middle of the action, making tackles and hitting somebody or doing something. But I also, as a sidelight, just was a soccer style kicker and could kick. And so anyway, that's what I did. Played football and baseball all 4 years. Went to Omaha in 1976 as a player. And so I've been there as a player and a coach. And so that's back in the old day, back in 76, when we went to College World Series, we got picked up at the Red Lion Hotel in a yellow school bus to go to the field and Rosenblatt. And so times have changed. Things are a little bit different. Yeah. But I always enjoyed the trips to Rosenblatt. Always, another story about Miami, Danny. We played you guys in 96. You weren't there, but in 96 we played Miami. And if you asked me, and they had, the Braun, right-handed hitter.
Pat Burrell?
Pat Burrell, yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Pat Burrell. It wasn't Braun. He was later, right? I played.
Yeah, Ryan Braun came a little bit. I think he's older.
Yeah, Pat Burrell.
I mean, younger. Pat's older. Right.
Yeah. So Pat came up, but anyway, so Benson's pitching, and we hit. We struck out that game. We struck out 19 Miami batters. This is how screwed up this game is. We struck out 19 batters, Miami, and lost 7-3.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yes. And this is the game where we had Gary Burnham was my left fielder, really good player, played 13 years in minor league, played major leagues in Japan for a year. But this is the year where we had guys on first and second base. Miami had a guy hits one down the left field line, right over the bag, ground ball, boom, right over the bag, right into the corner, left field corner. Gary goes down there, and he's been playing with the crowd, throwing balls up in there between innings and things like that, and ball goes down the corner. For some reason, he thinks it's foul, picks the ball up and throws it in the stands.
Oh, no.
So the guy at first, second scores, obviously the guy at third scores, the first scores, and the guy who hit it was around second base, so he scored. So 3 runs came in on that when it should have been 2. But anyway, we lost 7-3.
Oh, man.
And I will never forget, Gary came in to the dugout. It was on ESPN. It was a bloopers or whatever. It was, everybody's trying to vote it as the greatest play of the year or something. But he came in the dugout, and I'll never forget. He went right this one time that I never said a word to him. And what are you going to say? He was embarrassed. Yeah. He was, he picked it up, threw it right in the stands. And I think as soon as he threw it in the stands, he looked back. And I said to Corbs, I said, Tim, did you just throw that ball up in the stands? And he goes, I can't tell you what he said to me, but he said he did throw that ball up in the stands. I go, really? So anyway, that was one of my Miami memories from 1996. Benson pitched, struck out 16, I think, and then another kid came in, struck out 3, struck out 19 guys. and we struck out 18 guys against Central Florida and lost the game. I mean, that's how screwed up the game can be if you give up a long ball here and there, a big hit with men on base. And so anyway, that's one of my Miami stories. There you go.
Amazing.
I could listen to these stories all day. We do have a window that we're trying to get this in, but Jack, really do appreciate the time. It's always a pleasure to talk. It was great to see you when I was at Clemson. I'm so glad, and I think I speak for Danny as well, that Clemson to you is a we again. It just feels right. I know it means a lot to you. So looking forward to seeing your number on the wall out there at Doug Kingsmore Stadium here in the near future.
I appreciate it, Darren. And Danny, it's good catching up with you. Great career.
Thank you.
Follows you. Gosh, anytime did you get a full 10 years in?
I did 11. I got 11.
11
yeah.
And it's very difficult for anybody to get a player. Shane Monahan, he gets a couple of years in. Benson just made it 10 years. It's difficult to get 10 years in.
Yeah.
And to stay injury free, although I know the College World Series 94, you tore your ACL. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
And it was difficult to get. It's difficult to get that amount of good time in the big leagues because it's so competitive. So congratulations on that. And I always enjoyed competing against you. And I don't mind you, plunking one of our guys 30 years later. We're okay with that. Shane, we'll thank Shane again for that one. And
please do.
It's great catching up with you.
Yeah, great catching up. Thank you for your forgiveness too. And I got to say, man, not just Clemson, but college baseball is better with you in it, Coach. So
I appreciate it.
Congratulations for this weekend, and hope to see you at the ACC tournament. So,
well, I hope so too. And I've had a lot of good feedback from a lot of coaches around the country, and a lot of people, a lot of my players are just excited about me being back involved, and I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about what Erik's going to do for Clemson baseball, and everybody be a little bit patient and they'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, we're glad you're back, and at least in the pants, not the full uniform. Glad you're in the pants and a pullover, Coach. Thanks again for the time. Really do appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.